Somebody's asked a question about picking or choosing an instrument when purchasing, what to look out for. So I thought I'd just do a quick video. I've narrowed it down to 5 things. First of all is the sound. Second most important thing is the feel of it. Third is the workmanship. The fourth is the luthier. Probably ties into the third, the workmanship, but basically his reputation. And the last bit, the fifth one, is the cost relative to everything I've just mentioned. There's obviously a cost, and if you think it's worthy based on what you've, the sound, the feel, the workmanship, there's a cost to it, and whether you feel it's justified. I won't go into what instruments are selling at the moment. That's up to individual interpretation, what your budget is. Basically, the sound is the most important thing. So play the instrument, play it on both sides. So both sides with 2 chords, high pitched and the middle chord and the low pitched chord. Now, if you like that sound, make sure it's tuned. If it's not tuned, the luthier that you're buying it off should tune it. If you like that, if it's if it's a crisp, loud, if it resonates with you and in your hands, I mean, the sound, it needs to capture your imagination, if you know what I mean. So you really have to like the sound. So in a way, the more instruments you play and compare, you'll find out which one you like, basically. And there's different instruments. Some play high pitched, low pitched, deeper. So you just got to know what your individual taste is. So basically, the sound is the most important thing. You can play individual chords if you're going to play the instrument. So play individual chords, a few trembles. If you know a tune, obviously you play the tune. So the sound is the most important thing. You have to like the sound, and it has to be a nice sound, because you're going to be stuck with this instrument for a very long time. The first instrument I bought is still with me. 30 years I've had it. I don't play that one actually, because the soundboard sunk, which anyway, that's again, ties into the workmanship, which I'll talk about a bit later. But I have got newer instruments now, which I think are better sounding. The second one is the feel. Now, the feel is the feel in your hand, mainly around here where you're holding it, and the feel of your fingers on the chords. Okay, so the chords should be very, very close to the fingerboard. Sometimes, if they're not close, there's a gap, and you can actually feel like you've got to press down pretty hard on the chords to get the note that you're after. I find that's very tiring. I've got some instruments that are like that. So just be aware of that. Everyone's got different fingers as well. So for me, I've said this on the channel a number of times, I've got sensitive fingers. So for me, it's very important. Just have a feel, how it feels here. If you feel it's comfortable, easy to change notes. You find it's effortless. Again, it goes back to trying a few different instruments to compare. So just the feel of the instrument in your hand, I find is very important, and also the feel of. Sometimes I find pegs are slightly bigger than others and just more uncomfortable to tune the instrument. I mean, you're not tuning the instrument that often, but I find the gap between pegs can be a bit of an issue. So just keep maybe just try and tune the instrument a little bit, see if you like the feel of it. And also I find if you're playing an instrument a bit higher, sometimes I find my knuckle hits the top peg. Probably not a workmanship issue, probably just the individual hand, the way everyone's hands are different. But I find that can be a bit of an issue. I put up with it. So that's the second one. The third one is workmanship. Have a look at the instrument. Is it symmetrical? Is it well made? Has it been well carved out in there? Is there heaps of room around the strings? You've got to put your fingers in there to tie these things up. Make sure it looks pretty good in there, nice and symmetrical. We went into the feel, but just a nice looking, you can tell a good instrument by the way it's made. It just looks good. The wood doesn't have cracks in it. Some wood does have cracks in it, which you want to avoid. It's not the worst thing in the world anyway, but yeah, so just have a look at the workmanship. The soundboard's very important. Make sure there's no cracks in it. If there is cracks, usually there's a noise when you're playing it. But anyway, you never know. And I find the sound holes, make sure they're symmetrical. Make sure the bridge sits on the soundboard nice and flat. Yeah, so stuff like that. I mean, some luthiers make designs on their fingerboards, which doesn't really matter, but it can be a nice little addition. So that's the workmanship. The fourth one is luthier, which ties into the workmanship, but basically you want to buy an instrument from a luthier who you've either been recommended, who has a good reputation. Obviously, the better luthiers are going to charge more. You can buy an instrument from some old guy making them, and you'll probably get the cheapest price. It'll be probably sounding just as good. The workmanship may not be the same as someone who makes it in a workshop, professionally made. So just have an idea of who's making it, how many they've made. Just keep, follow them. A lot of guys are on Facebook and so on. And lastly, the cost. Now, the cost is all relative to what I've just mentioned. Everyone's got a budget. Now, if you're a beginner, I wouldn't be over budgeting, but don't get if you really love the instrument and you think you're definitely going to be playing it longer than a couple of years, long term, pay a little bit more, because you're gonna grow out of a really cheap instrument. I've bought an eBay instrument once, and I mean, it's okay. It'll get you going. It'll get you excited about the instrument, which is what this is all about. You want to get excited about playing the instrument, and it got me excited at one stage, but it didn't have the type of sound, the really good sound that I was mentioned in point one. So basically, yeah, the cost. I mean, I bought my first instrument. I had instruments here in Australia, but when I went to Greece, there was a guy here in Melbourne who recommended and he was in Greece at the time, and I met up with him, and he took me to a guy in Thessaloniki, and his workshop. He had a dedicated workshop. I mean, I think he was a carpenter by trade, and he took me into his office, and he had about 10 or 12 instruments up on a wall, hung on a wall. They were all his instruments for sale, and they were all from lower price to the higher price. I took number 4. So out of 12, that was my budget. I paid quite a bit. I mean, back then, I think I paid about 200 Australian dollars, which is 120 US, which at the time, and he didn't give me a bow. He refused to give a bow. Some of these luthiers will not give a bow because they know a lot of work goes into a bow. They'll only set, and they don't make them. They don't really make that many. They just concentrated on making the instruments, which is a good thing, I suppose, if they just make instruments. But anyway, I took the 4th of his 12, hung on the wall, which is pretty good, but it played good on the high pitch side. But I found over time it started losing the quality sound on the low pitch, and the reason was his soundboard was so thin. It's actually the weight of the bridge, it sunk the low pitch side, and obviously, I mean, I don't think he was aware of it at the time I bought it. It was flat, but over time it just sunk, and I don't play that instrument anymore. But it gives you an idea. I paid a little bit more, and it was a nice instrument. I played with it for 2 years while I was taking lessons, but over time it the soundboard deteriorated. So, and also there's different types of instruments. This is my favourite one. It plays a very crisp, nice quality sound. My second best instrument is this one. Slightly different, deeper sound. This one plays better on the low pitch side, whereas the first one I just played plays a bit better. Well, it plays about the same side. By the way, those two were made in Turkey, which, by the way, have very inexpensive, because of the currency, you can get a very good instrument from Turkey, actually. So this one I actually made. Plays okay. Doesn't quite have that depth and that resonating sound, so I don't really play it on the channel much. I used to. until I bought the other two from Turkey. And these ones are very popular if you're into the high-pitched sounding instruments. They're not very deep. They're very narrow. Very nice quality sound, but very high-pitched. Not tuned this one, but anyway. Again, personal preference. You got to play it. You've got to enjoy. You got to like the sound of it, and that's got to resonate with you because you're going to be stuck with it for a very long time. I mean, you can always sell it, but if you want an instrument and you want to be stuck with it for a long time, you may as well just do it once and do it properly. Anyway, I hope that sums up choosing an instrument. Please leave a comment if you've got anything more to add. If I've missed anything, thanks for watching.